11 days out from the shelter closing. If you guys were watching all of my other accounts, and I know that there are people who have been keeping, really good track of this. This has been ongoing for me since 2020. I've documented all the ways that I personally have been unlawfully handled, immorally, unethically handled. And I'm writing a novel about it. But in the current circumstances, it's incredibly difficult to find the partnership that I need. If you guys are publishers, if you guys have a minimal investment amount that you'd like to contribute, I would love to publish my novel. And I have most of it written up. The last 2 years, I've not been able to write up yet, but through recollection, memory, and forensics, like bank account statements and receipts that I keep and notes that I keep for myself in my phone and on my notebook, actually handwritten notes, I'm able to effectively, figure out what was going on and write about it and narrate. I think it's a really important book to write. And I'm very hopeful that I'll receive the partnership that I'm looking for so that I can get going on actually publishing. I have about 400 something pages written. More if you include all of the notes and, little stories that I've written on like separate sheets of paper that don't go in chronological order. Excuse me. Just to give you guys an overview of the situation, in 2016, there was an officer, a detective named David Shepard. Hold on a second. There was an officer, a detective named David Shepard, and this detective, while I was in the car with my mother-in-law from a previous marriage, I was pulled over and taken by this person. He was driving an unmarked car, and he had multiple unmarked cars with him. So they were about 3 or 4 cars deep. And I was taken to what they refer to as a black hole site, which is a site for interrogation and questioning that isn't marked as a police station. Terrifying. I had no criminal record, no experience with any sort of crime. I was coming out of an administrative career in healthcare at Northwestern, Loyola, Gottlieb, and Alexian Brothers over the previous 10 years. 10 years prior to that, I was doing, that was it. That was my whole entire adult life because I was 27 at the time that this started to take place. I'm 37 now. So he pulls me out of the car, not physically, but tells me, like, ma'am, you have to come, with us. And I say, okay, and I'm dressed up nice. I had just come from court, and where another set of circumstances also related was being thrown out. I was being set up, and it was proven that someone was attempting to set me up, and the case was thrown away. Someone put a bag of substance in my purse, and it appeared to be some sort of powdery drug, but it was not. It was baby powder. I don't carry baby powder in a bag, even though I had babies at that age. I just don't carry it. It was clear that someone did it on purpose, and also that weekend, when they did that and I was in custody being questioned, my home was robbed. My home on the northwest side in Portage Park was robbed. My vacuum cleaner, my silverware, my purses, my bags, all of my belongings were stolen from my house. And a lot of clothes and stuff, makeup. And someone left their hat, their beanie, with their name embroidered on it underneath my bed. And this person, is a reoccurring theme in my life. She has come back to sleep with a number of my significant others, and I really don't know her that well. nor do I understand her intentions or her role in all of this, but I do believe she was part of the robbery. So this is 2016, you guys. Now, in the line of questioning at that black hole site, I was presented with a box, a paper letter box. You know, the boxes that they use for reams of paper, 8 by 10 sheets. When you work in an office, they drop off those boxes filled with paper for your printer. One of those. And it was filled to capacity with a whole bunch of evidence, we'll say, against multiple people who I had met within the last 2 to 3 weeks. It was at that time that I made the determination that I was being extorted. The detective who is now up for nomination for a seat on the Senate of the Republican Party, he showed me a bunch of photos and told me a bunch of stories about these people in the photos and told me that he wanted me to keep close contact with these people and that if I did not, he would come to my house and, quote, take my children from me. I was terrified. I had absolutely no criminal record. I had no involvement with police. I was a regular mom. You know, I had no idea what to do. So I started sharing the information that was going on with me with my significant other at the time, who is my co-star in the brief, very brief 6 episodes that he and I did together of the reality show on the WE network. I started sharing this with him on a recorded line through the state of Illinois. Now, at the time that I was sharing all of this, he was giving me advice on what to do. Call a lawyer, tell the lawyer this, do that. I was also receiving a large volume of friend requests and date requests from political candidates. There were judges, there were other officers, a lot of politicians on Facebook. That was the only platform that I was really using at the time. I had an Instagram. It was still very, very new. It was only in like the 2,000, followers range. It later grew to approximately 60,000 followers, that exact Instagram account. But while all of this was going on, I was sharing everything with him over this recorded line. And I was texting and calling this officer, this detective, on a daily basis. And I would do my best to not hang out with this group that he wanted information on. Mind you, I had all of maybe 3 friends prior to this situation. And they were friends that I grew up with in Elmhurst. Moms like myself, we would get together on Halloween, 4th of July, have pool days, beach days, etc. and so forth. So I had absolutely no idea what was going on or how to handle the situation or properly mitigate the situation for myself. I did my best, with what I knew and what I had, and I was terrified. So I would hang out with people who were not that group of people. And, all I remember thinking is if this group of people is in real trouble, the last thing I want to do for myself or my children is be around them, I need to mind my own business and, stay to myself and focus on my business and, etc. and so forth. I had 3 small children at the time. My youngest, Alexis, was about 1.5 years old, 18 months. Viviana was about 7 or 8, and my son was 6 or 7 years old. So I had my hands full at home. And it was just a very, very scary situation that I became involved in. My significant other at that time told me to get a lawyer, and I retained Nick Albuquerque. Nick Albuquerque, who's now an administrative law judge. After retaining Nick Albuquerque and sharing with Nick screen recordings or screenshots, we didn't have screen recordings in those days, but I would use with another phone, record video from the other phone because this detective asked me to download the app WhatsApp for all communications with him, which is an end-to-end encryption application that you can use any sort of name to communicate with. And, my thoughts on that are that he was nefariously extorting me into gathering information for him with regards to whatever cases he was currently working on. I don't know if he was doing so for my benefit, to protect me, for his own benefit, to close cases. I really don't know what, the deal was on that. But that's what was happening. And I proved it to my lawyer. I was told by my lawyer that within 3 months we would be contacted by Internal Affairs because they wanted to extract information from my phone to prove what was going on with this officer and also question me. I said, okay. I was taken into the office at the same black hole site, or maybe not a black hole site this time. It might have been a courthouse. I don't remember. And I was questioned. I was questioned by a panel of approximately 10 to 20 internal affairs staff. My lawyer was there, Nick Albuquerque, as well as, I believe, a judge or someone acting on behalf of the Cook County court system. It was ruled in my favor that the detective was out of line, and I voluntarily allowed access to my phone to this group of people for, the purpose of protecting me from what was going on. Now, at this time, I had already gone to hospitals telling them that I felt I was in danger. I had already gone to law enforcement telling them that I felt I was in danger. And I had already gone to numerous friends and relatives telling them that I thought I was in danger. But where I come from in my life, this type of danger doesn't exist in real life. It only exists in the movies and TV shows, So it was very difficult for me to get any sort of understanding from the people in my life. In addition to that, I was learning rapidly. My intelligence was increasing faster than it had ever before in my life. In a matter of approximately 5 years, I learned a lot about technology, things about technology that some people will die never knowing, things about artificial intelligence, things about software development. And, on the other end of that scope, I learned a lot of things about criminal activity, workarounds, ethical, legal, lawful activities that are legal and lawful but morally frowned upon, and other things of that nature. It was overwhelming, an incredibly overwhelming experience that had its ups and downs for sure. But I can tell you that the downs, they have a funny way of sticking with you a lot longer and stronger than the ups. For every fancy 5-star dinner I had, it takes me effort to remember those times. It takes me no effort to walk by one of those places and my mind to just autopilot relive a horrific experience that occurred. I wish I could tell you guys more right now, but I'm about to get on the train. I am really desperately looking for assistance in publishing these stories, in receiving assistance for this situation. My children, in 2020, when my significant other came home and we did the reality show, it was actually June of 2019 that we recorded it, and it aired in 2020. I became, for some reason, someone's target. I don't understand it fully to this day. My lawyer, Nick Albuquerque, met with me in Target on South State Street in the downtown area around October and told me, and I quote, "You need to flee the state of Illinois." And I didn't understand, and I was crying, and I asked him, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have any resources. I have 3 children here. I now have 4 children. Weston was born in February 19th, 2024. I was homeless for a full year prior to that. I've gone to local law enforcement. I've gone to detectives. I've literally gone to the FBI. I don't know what more to do other than work on publishing my story. We were finally accepted into shelter assistance 3 days after I gave birth to Weston. And we followed all the rules. I got 0 write-ups, no infractions, never got in trouble. and was told on July 9th that we would have to, quote, self-resolve the homelessness, and we were put back into the street. My son, we go to visit in Maywood at the DCFS office Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. He's 5 months old now, and I'm desperately seeking assistance with this situation. All of my human rights, maybe not all of them, because I'm not familiar with the entire legislation regarding human rights, but many, numerous human rights that I have as a citizen of this country have been violated. I've been paying taxes here since I was 14 years old, and I got my first job when I was in high school. I needed a work permit to work. I'm a good mother, a great mother. I love my children so much, and I'm just interested in rebuilding my life and restoring my life to what it was. I know how to do business. I know how to do, sales and marketing. I know how to do a wide variety of business services such as accounting, basic accounting, data entry, executive calendar management, scheduling. I worked as an administrator for endocrinology and rheumatology for 6 years at Northwestern, handling a wide variety of responsibilities. I know the clinical end of healthcare, vitaling, triaging, phlebotomy. I've worked as a brand ambassador, promotional model, and event planner for many years, bartender. There's really no position with regards to employment that I have not been able to excel in, and I would love to begin earning income. It's incredibly difficult to survive this way with regards to mental stamina and, being a good parent and keeping myself in a place, above sadness, in a place above peacefulness, in a place of actually enjoying life. It's nearly impossible. I don't recall the last time I engaged in an activity that I was like, oh my God, this is great, other than being with my children. Being with my children has been primarily the only thing that's brought me enjoyment, happiness, peace, etc. and so forth. So if you guys can please help me, there's so much more to the story than that. That began 2016. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I mean, I have before, but I've never been addicted to a substance. I've had the same doctor the entire time this has been going on, so all of the details are verifiable and documented in more than one place with several bank accounts. I have forensics on myself so that I can verify my own whereabouts and my own activities. I really need assistance. I'm not giving my permission or consent to be involved in any quote-unquote undercover work. I do not want to be inserted into any sort of games. I want to go home. I want to live with my children. I'm tired, of this type of experience, for lack of a better term. And as I said, I'm really accomplished into this novel. I've uploaded it into my email, and I have the actual hard copies that I've been writing. It's been 5 years in the making, and I still have 2 years to catch up on. It's definitely going to be, a great read, and I think beneficial for many, as well as entertaining for many, as well as has the potential to be incredibly profitable. Like I said, I just want to get back to life as normal. I want to get back to being with my children and living in my own space. Waking up on the pavement, on the sidewalk is inhumane, and it's unmanageable. It's not acceptable for anyone. And I'm praying and begging for assistance, please. So this morning we're headed to some sort of a meeting that was scheduled for what they call quote unquote coordinated care. It sounds fake when I answer the phone and the people say these things. They sound juvenile and elementary in their understanding of the world. It seems incredibly difficult, for me to be able to have faith on and rely on these people, because it doesn't sound like they know what they're talking about. They just say the same things, which are, the same things I've been documenting, which are, we don't have any assistance. We've been asking for shelter and there's none. They say that. Well, there's no shelter right now. It's full. Well, why are you calling me then? Is how I feel. If you don't have the resources for shelter assistance, which is the only referral that I need, what are you calling my phone for? And I've been receiving an influx of these calls. I feel as though there's something nefarious going on with my phone number, but I really don't know, and I'm involved in way too many court-ordered services through the Department of Child and Family for my 5-month-old, who is the only one who's involved in that. My 3 other children are with family members and their father. Xavier is the father of my 5-month-old, and I met him 2 years ago while I was being subjected to brutal abuse. My vagina was cut open by someone with an X-Acto knife. About a year later, someone inserted their finger and scratched me internally, intentionally. I was being forced to participate in a number of different, I call them federal operations, in exchange for shelter and food. We're 5 years in, 10 years if you include the time that I was stable in my own home, and this was ongoing. If someone could please throw me a fucking, lifesaver, that'd be fantastic. So, Heather Gillespie, it's July 20th. Have a good day.